Hi there, welcome to Mick's Workshop. So today, or in this video, we're going to be making this. What is this? This is a table saw alignment tool. And the way it works is you've got a dial indicator mounted in this part, which rides up against the fence or the blade on your table saw. This part rides in the slot on your table saw, has these spring-loaded ball inserts here to help maintain pressure and to account for the variations in the slot dimensions, and has a adjustment knob so that you can bring it closer to or away from the blade to, you know, however you need to for what you're aligning. And yeah, this is a gift for a friend of mine, so that's why I made this case and everything for it. And yeah, so let's get started. First thing we're going to do is go over to the bandsaw, cut off some material, and then we'll walk through the process of making this. Oh yeah, one other thing. So yeah, the other thing I had to do on this is I had to make a new back for the dial indicator because the lug stuck out too far, and as you'll see in the video, that is one of the most problematic parts of this that I made. Every video every project I do, I end up learning something, and learned quite a bit this time about turning and machining thin pieces of metal. So alright, let's go get started making this thing. Okay, so I've got the piece cut roughly to length of the horizontal bandsaw, and now I need to cut it down lengthwise, 1.5 inches in this dimension. And so I've got it clamped up to my thick aluminum fence here with a 1-2-3 block to set it at a right angle, and let's see how this goes. Get some wax for the blade. It just occurred to me as I get closer up here, I'm going to have to remove this clamp because I will be putting pressure against the blade. So I'm just going to have to finish up this last part holding it by hand, I think. But yeah, I can't think of a better way to do it. Alright, that should work. I've got this face of the cut lined up with where it comes through on my fence. Flipped it around, so let's give it a shot. I mean, it's just to take off bulk material. Alright, blade either came off or broke. Alright, that worked. Now I need to flip it around and do the other dimension, which is 1 inch. For those of you out there cringing because I'm using a 1-2-3 block for this, this is an old 1-2-3 block that I got probably in some auction stuff that I have no illusions that it's precise, so it is setup block for welding and things like this. Okay, that is cut roughly to size. Just doing a cleanup pass here first to clean up the irregularities on this, and then we'll cut it down almost to size because I got to do actually we'll do a cleanup pass and then we'll flip it over and cut it down to size. Yeah, there we go. Alright, take that out, deburr it, and then keep going on the other sides. Alright, I'm on the final cleanup pass on this part. I had to replace the inserts. I'll show you one of the inserts that completely came apart, which explains the terrible surface finish I was getting. But we're back to a mirror finish again. Alright, so this is what's left of one of the inserts. It was all being held in there by the screw, but as soon as I loosened the screw, it all just came apart like this. So, I guess it's time to throw that one away. 1.61. Alright, now I'm going to use an end mill to clean up the two ends and cut it to size on the length. Alright, flip the part around. Alright, so I've got everything laid out. I need to cut a groove here and a groove here coming from the center 0.6065 out and 0.36 deep. So I'm going to start on this end. I'm going to take a 10 thou depth of cut going this way so that I don't leave a big burr here. Alright, well, that's the first feature on this piece, and I think it turned out pretty good. Let's see how I did on my measurement here. .361, and I was aiming for 0.36, so I will take that. The bow off, yeah. Alright, now this part, I'm not sure which order I'm going to do these in next, but needs a hole drilled somewhere in here for the rod that'll connect the two blocks. And then I'm going to cut out, I don't know exactly how much, but somewhere around here to here, just remove all of that material, leaving about a 1/4 inch here and full width here. Mainly just to make it lighter. Still pretty heavy, even after removing all that. The one I modeled it off of, I'm 99% sure was made out of aluminum. But but I don't have access to anodizing equipment, and I didn't want to just leave raw aluminum. So steel it is. All right, I will come back when I figure out what I'm going to do next. I think I'm probably going to drill this hole next. That way I have more meat to grab onto here, and I think what I can do is I can just set this in the vise and use this edge as a reference there, and then drill there. That way I don't need a parallel underneath it. Alrighty, be back. Alright, so I've got a piece of stainless steel rod in the lathe here, and I'm just going to clean it up and polish it, and I'm just going to use a sequence of progressively finer sandpaper. So try to do this without bumping the camera. This is 400 grit. And now 800 grit. All right, 1000 grit. Uh, 2000 grit. And finally 3000 grit. Alright, I'd say that turned out pretty decent. The marks you see on it are actually, I think those are reflections off of the light, the individual LED lights up there. So yeah, it's shiny and smooth. Alright, on to the next step. Alright, I've got my top block, the guide block, marked up. I've got the center point of my hole that'll be a through hole. It is 13/16 from this edge, and a ½ an inch from this edge. I did not center it between this edge and this edge, just in case there's a slight variation with the measuring block. I want this hole to be the same distance from the base where it's going to sit on the table saw. And now I need to take this wiggler out and or edge finder, excuse me, it's not a wiggler, and get ready to drill that hole. I don't want to move the X and Y. In fact, I've got them locked right now. Use some more of my controversial anchor lube. That was dumb. I don't know how much actually stayed in the hole. Alright, let's give that a shot. Oakley dokley. Alright, I took that out, checked it on the rod, and it was a perfect fit, exactly what I was looking for. So now I'm going to chamfer this end. Alright, I've got the measuring block, I guess we'll call it. Set up in the vise, and everything should be on because I'm referencing off this back face, and I've got the stop here. Alright, well, I've got the X-axis alignment still set for these two parts. I'm going to drill the holes for the set screws. The end I didn't polish is pretty tight. There we go. I just want to put that in so that I don't end up with big burrs in there. Yep, that should do it. Good. Did not drill through. But while I have this set up here, I do want to drill for the two holes that will go on the back of this for set screws. Probably also quarter 28, but I need to, or quarter 20, but I need to go check and make sure I have them. I did not show you this. I laid out the other semicircular feature here. That will get milled out, and then a hole drilled through this way, and that's where the dial indicator will sit, and it'll poke through the bottom like that. Okay, this way has to be looking for. Okay, can we center a bit? Get my rod. tap this up to about 4. Alright, I think that's all the operations I need to do in this position. Right, yeah, on the x-axis. So, what's next? On this piece, I have to cut out this semicircular piece. I have to drill a hole through here for the shaft of the indicator to go through. I've got to drill a hole through the back down here for a set screw for the indicator. And that's it on this piece. I say that's it. That semicircular piece is going to be a pain to set up. I'm going to use the boring head on it. And then on this piece, on the back here, I don't know how many I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3 maybe, or 4. 3 should do. I'm going to use 3 of these. You can see that there. Spring-loaded ball detents, which I measured and took into account how much the ball sticks out and how much it compresses. When it compresses all the way, took that off of the width, or halved it actually, and took that off of the width of this, so that when this is in the saw, that ball should be about halfway compressed. And I'm going to drill all the way through. These have a little hole on the back. Are you even looking at this on the camera? Yeah. These have a little hole on the back. I'm going to drill all the way through so that you can use some light oil, because this is intended to be slid in the miter gauge slot, miter slot. So I need to do that. I need to drill, and the thing that's going to complicate that is that I don't know if you can see it or not, but these have a ridge there, so I got to drill for a light press fit for that, and then take into account the diameter and depth of that little bump sticking out, and drill that as well. And then then the only other step is to remove this material here, just to make it lighter. So there'll be a 1/4 inch material sticking out along here, and then, wow, then I think I'm done. I might actually get this done in time for his birthday on Saturday. So the way this works is this will be down near the table saw blade or the fence. This will be up in the miter slot. That rod will go through here. The indicator is here, and as you slide this along, you can indicate the measure the parallelness of the blade or of the fence. You could use this on pretty much any tool you want to align like that. Yeah, so I think this should turn out pretty good. I think I'm going to blue these. I've got the rod just about done. You saw that being polished, and I need to cut it and chamfer the ends. I need to tap these and tap that one, so 4 holes to tap. And then I need to make a knob for this. I think I'm going to just make a brass knob similar to, if you can see them there, similar to those knobs back there on my mill. Not quite as big though. Alright, so let me figure out what I'm going to do next, and we'll be right back. Alright, I've got the part in the vise, and getting ready to drill and ream, I think 3. Yeah, I'm going to go with 3 holes for these little ball spring indent things. So I'm going to find the center of this piece here, and this length. Put one in the center here, and then figure out where I want them here, probably ½ inch from the end or something like that. I've got to drill all the way through with a 5.5 millimeter drill bit, ream it to 6, and then do a test fit on these. Hopefully it's a light press fit. And then I need to counterbore, I believe it's about it's either a millimeter or a ½ millimeter. It looks like a millimeter down, so this little raised section sits down in there. So that's what we're doing. Alright, this one should be right for the center. But I'm pretty sure the y-axis is not right. I'm going to have to do that a little differently. Alright. Yeah, that hole's throwing me off. Yeah, so it turns out you can't get the center by using this edge both times. Should have thought about that. So where I am now should be right in the center of that thing. Sanity check here, because this hole I think is throwing me off visually. A little over 2. Yeah, something is wrong. That is not in the center. See if it clears. Maybe. Yeah, it does. All right. All right. Yes. Oh. Right. Okay, now we're centered. My DRO is starting to act up. It's got that membrane surface on it, and the X axis. It's like you know how remote controls, TV remote controls get when they get that yucky, gummy stuff inside and they quit working. I have a feeling that's what's going on with this. I suppose I should take it apart and see if I can clean that. Honestly, I'd rather just buy a touch DRO. Well, I spent a lot of time talking to the camera while I did these other holes, and didn't even turn it on. So, yeah, sorry. Anyway, these three are finished. Just need to be deburred. And the only other thing left to do to this part is to cut out this. So I'm going to mark that up. I think I probably still have, yeah. Anyway, make sure I got everything set up, and I'm going to take it over to the bandsaw and hog out as much of that material as possible, and then bring it back over here to the mill and finish it off. So I don't know if you can see that. A little step there inside that hole. Yeah. Alright, I've got it set up over here on the bandsaw with 1, 2, 3 block and some clamps. One of my less inspired organizational decisions is right there. This is the coolant for the mill, which you can see I just refilled with beautiful brand new coolant, and as you can also see is very close to the end of this T-saw, or this slot bar. And in fact, there is interference. So, yeah. And of course, it's on leveling casters, which means that all 4 corners are on the ground. So, it's going to take me a little bit to move this out, and need to figure out how far I need to move it. Alright, I'm back, and I have moved the base for the bandsaw out by about 2.5 inches. Alright, I'm pleased with that. That'll work. Take it over to the mill, clean that up. You can see that. Alright, I've got the part set up in the mill again. I'm going to find 0 off of this face, come in 1.5, and then find 0 off of the top of the jaws and come up 1/4, set my DROs, and just mill out what's left of that little bit of area there. That shouldn't take very long at all, I hope. So that was a 1/2 inch end mill. So I stepped over 0.45 each time, so at least I have some nice straight lines. That looks pretty cool. Alright, go deburr this, and the only other operation left on this is chamfering. Not sure how much I'm going to do, and tapping that hole right there. And then of course making the knob for it, but I'm considering that a separate operation. Alright, I think I've got this thing set up now. I've got it on a piece of sacrificial aluminum block because I'm going to be cutting all the way through this piece. I've got it clamped down to my fixture table up against, actually I need to adjust this 1, 2, 3, no I don't, I want to leave that. Anyway, and then I indicated it in, so this face is parallel to the axis of travel of the y-axis. Now now I'm going to indicate and find this edge and this back edge, because those are my reference points for this circle or semicircle. And then I'm going to see about cutting most of this out with a hole saw. That's why I was just checking these clamps. I hope it's secure enough that it doesn't rip that piece out. I'll just take it nice and slow. And then bore the rest out with the boring head. That's the plan. Alright, I hope this does not screw this up. Luckily I haven't done a whole lot of operations to this piece. This is a 2-inch hole saw. But it leaves plenty of clearance from where I actually want the hole to be. Let's bring it down. I'm going to check it on the other side. Yeah. And it appears to be centered on the hole. I removed the pilot bit from it because the pilot bit was actually hitting right almost on the center of this, and I shouldn't need it in this operation, hopefully. And I did not use the, you can see the pins here that normally you put down in the holes. That was just loose. It was rocking back and forth. So I tightened it up on the arbor tight, which means it's probably going to be a pain in the butt to get off, but that's not a problem for now. So, yeah, let's get the lubrication flowing. And I am going to be taking this very slowly. So I'm going to switch the mill over to low. There we go. Let's see how fast that is. Alright, let's try that. Turn on some lubrication. Take it slow. Something going on with my lube cube here. It's leaking all over from the fitting. I know this will leave a little mark, but this will be much better. Oops, sorry. There we go. Alright, try it again. Yay! Nothing catastrophic happened, as far as I can tell. Left a pretty nice little slug. I'm still inside my lines. I consider that a success. Yeah, there we go. So, it's rough, but what do you expect from a hole saw? Alright, see about getting the boring head set up. And I believe that that's close enough. I can probably, we'll see. I'm not going to speculate right now. Yeah, let's get the boring head set up. Alright, and with that, we're going to have to take a pause in this. This video is already getting too long. Should be able to finish it up in the next episode. So thanks for watching, and please do me a favor and give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, and tune in for the next video where we finish this thing up.